website right now and download my free course on alternate picking mastery. It contains 5 essential exercises that will take you to alternate picking mastery faster than you can imagine. And then I've included my method of how to lay out a practice plan in just 1 to 2 minutes that will absolutely boost your results like nothing you ever tried before. So go download it right now. It's free. How do you mute when you play chords? A question I got, and it looks invisible almost, but you tend to, when you play bar chords, for instance, if you have like the whole finger across here, it's no magic, right? Because you basically just lift your fingers just a little bit, and then you get that muted sound, and that can be quite a challenge sometimes because you have to touch the strings but not press them down. But you can easily practice that by downstroke, and then muted upstroke, and get that into your fingers. But when it comes to open chords, like a G major here, or D, what do you do to mute? Because, you know, and what happens is, I use different techniques actually. For the G, you can put your fingers down like this, right? So I'm playing the G, and then I'm basically putting my first finger down, and you know, all the strings. It just becomes like a muted position with my hand and fingers, and then I can, right? For C, the regular C here, I put my third finger down and my fourth finger as well across the strings, so I go. Right? Let's do an A. I do a little bit of a different thing there. I lift the fingers, of course, but because I have no real contact with the A string, I basically don't hit the A string there. And my fourth finger is kind of touching the E string a little bit, the high E string, to mute it as well, so I get this one. Right? D. I lift my fingers again. I basically have an open E string that rings out, but I don't hit it with my pick. So it's a matter of using this hand here. Sometimes I can put my fourth finger across all strings. When it's the C, right? Just the fourth finger there. Right? So that's how to do it. When you do bar chords, it's easy. When you do open chords, it's a little bit more tricky. But you just have to practice it and do whatever you have to do in order to mute the strings in the easiest way possible, moving as little as possible. So that's the answer. And then once you've done it, you just simply design a little exercise where you can do one open, one muted. And then remember, sometimes you need to not hit certain strings that you cannot mute. With your left hand here. I remember doing this little piece by Stevie Ray Vaughan, and that's a really killer when it comes to muting, because you have to have single notes ringing out as you mute all the other strings. But each and every note requires a new position, so it's like playing a new chord every time you play a new note. Right? So that's just little changes in, sometimes the first finger is muting all the strings that goes, and then the others on the bottom strings. If you have to play a note on the D string, I'm muting the notes with my first finger, and then the E and A string with my second and third finger to have that. And I remember practicing that, like, and then. This position, this way of holding my hand is like doing a chord, but it's not a chord, it's just one note and several other muted strings. And then the next. Then the next. Next. And I just sat like that over and over again. Then I, of course, took like the E and the G. And I went back and forth between the two. Instead of doing 5 or 6 or 7 different notes, I just took 2 back and forth. And then the next. Right? So do the same thing. Experiment with it, and then get to know this amazing instrument where you have to do stuff like that in order to make it work. You know, you get the reward of just so many different things you can do here, but it's special, right? You don't have to do this on a piano or a saxophone, right? It's just bing, one note, rings out perfectly, no problem. But on this instrument, there's so many things you can do, and there's, you know, also a lot of things you can learn. Subscribe for more free videos. Do it. Do it now. Do it.